Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we are going to study the 7th standard science, 3rd chapter, properties of natural resources. Introduction. In this chapter we are going to study about the natural resources such as air, water and soil. The main points are properties of air, temperature regulation, transmission of sound, properties of water, anomalous behavior of water, and properties of soil, soil's texture and soil structure. Uses and testing of soil. Explanation. Properties of air. Air is all around us. We cannot see it, yet we feel the presence of air. When we inhale and when we blow on our hand through our lips, we can feel the air. Let's do some simple experiment to learn the properties of air. Experiment number 1. Take a stick from a broom or a paper or plastic straw. Tie a thread at its center and hang it so that it remains horizontal. Procedure. Tie 2 rubber balloons of the same size of the 2 ends of the stick. Inflate one balloon and tie it again. Inflate the other balloon. The stick goes down on the side of the inflate balloon. Conclusion. Air has weight. Air is a mixture of gases, therefore, like all other matter, it has mass and weight. Experiment number 2. Syringe. Take an injection syringe without a needle, pull its piston. Observation. The piston can be pulled out easily. The piston then remains in that position even if you let it go. If we close the inlet hole of the syringe tightly, the more force will be required to pull out the piston. Conclusion. The molecules of gases in the air are in constant motion. When these molecules strike a body, they create pressure on that body. This pressure of air is called as atmospheric pressure. Experiment number 3. On pulling the piston with the inlet hole of the syringe closed, more space becomes available to the air in the syringe and it becomes rarefied. Observation. If the experiment is repeated, holding the syringe in the different positions like vertical, horizontal or inclined, the piston is found to go into the same extent in the cases. Conclusion. From this we can infer that atmospheric pressure is the same in all directions. Under ordinary condition, atmospheric pressure at sea level is about Newton square meter. It can be measured with the help of barometer. As we go higher above the sea level, atmospheric pressure decreases. In 1726, the Swedish scientist Daniel Bernoulli put forth the important principle that the pressure of air increases when its velocity decreases, while the pressure of air decreases when its velocity increases. Effect of air pressure. Experiment. Take some water in a plastic cup and hold a straw upright in it. Hold a small piece of another straw near the upper end of the straw and perpendicular to the straw. Blow hard through the smaller piece of the straw. Observation. The water comes out in the form of a fountain. Conclusion. On blowing through the straw, the air at its open end is pushed away, and hence the pressure of air near upper end of the erect straw becomes less than atmospheric pressure. The water in the cup is pushed from where the pressure is higher to where it is lower. This straw fountain works on Bernoulli's principle. When there exists a difference in the air pressure at two places, the air starts From the place of higher pressure to the place of lower pressure, we feel a breeze or a wind blowing. Thus, winds are an effect of the difference in air pressure. Air and humidity. Take ice cubes in a glass up to 3/4 of its height. What happened? Due to the cools down, as the water vapor in the air cools down, it condenses and gets transformed into the water. It is the water that collects on the outer surface of the glass. The level of humidity of the air is determined by the capacity to hold water vapor. During the night or at dawn, when the temperature of air is low, the capacity to hold the water vapor is less. At such time, the excess vapor is transformed into water droplets. This is what we call dew. The level of humidity of the air is different at the different places. Similarly, the humidity levels also change from time to time during the period of a single day. In the afternoon, when the temperature of the air is high, the capacity of air to hold the moisture also increases, then compared to its full capacity to hold water. The proportion of moisture in the air is less and we feel that the air is dry. The proportion of water vapor in the air is high during monsoon and in coastal areas. As a result, we feel the dampness or humidity. While in summer, wet clothes dry quickly, but in rains, they do not. So, we come to know that from the activities that the air has properties like occupying space, having certain volume, having mass and weight. Air is a mixture of very fine particles of some gases, dust, smoke and moisture. When rays of light fall on these minute particles, the particles spread the light in all directions. This natural phenomena is called scattering of light. Temperature regulation. The earth receives energy from the sun. This energy is reflected by the earth in the form of heat. The constituent of air surrounding the earth, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, absorbs a part of this heat and gives it to the other constituent of air. As a result, the earth's surface remains warm and thereby becomes for living world. If there were no air on the earth, the average temperature of the earth's surface would have been very low. Air helps to regulate the temperature. Transmission of sound. All the sounds that we hear reach us through the surrounding air. The density of air also changes due to change in its temperature. In winter, the density of air increases. We can hear the whistle of a distant train clearly early in the morning in winter. Air is useful as a medium for the transmission of sound. Properties of water. Water occurs in all three states of matter, that is solid, liquid and gaseous. Water occurs in the state under ordinary conditions. Water is fluid substance. Water does not have its own shape but has a volume. It can pass through small holes or seep through very small gaps or cracks. Activity. Take a plastic bottle more than half full of water. Mark the water level on the bottle. Keep this bottle upright in the freezer for making ice. Open the freezer after a couple of hours and observe. You will find that the ice level is higher than the water level before freezing. Conclusion. As water freezes to form ice, it expands and its volume increases. Density of air. To learn about density of water, let's do simple activity. Take a bucket of water. Drop many different kinds of particles in it. Observation. Some articles will sink in the water and some may float on it. Activity 2. Take some water in a pot and add a few pieces of ice to it. Observation. The ice floats on water. Ice is lighter than water. When water freezes to form ice, it becomes lighter than the original liquid. When water freezes, its volume increases. The density of ice is less than that of water, so it floats on water. Density. The interrelation between the volume and the mass of a substance is called density. The space occupied by a substance in its volume, the store of a matter in substance in mass. Formula for density. Density is equal to mass upon volume. Mass is measured in grams and volume in cubic centimeters. Hence, density is equal to gram per cubic centimeter. Hence, G upon Cc is the unit of density. Let's solve the example. If the mass of a 1 liter of water is 1 kilogram, then what is the density of water? 1 liter is equal to 10 into 10 into 10 is equal to 10 cube is equal to 1000 cubic centimeter. Density. Gram per centimeter cube is equal to 1 kilogram upon 1000 cubic centimeter is equals to 1000 grams per 1000 cubic centimeter is equals to 1 gram per cubic centimeter. Anomalous behavior of water. Usually when the temperature of a substance is lowered, its density increases as the volume decreases, but water is an exception to this rule. The density of water is peculiar. When water at normal temperature starts cooling, its density increases like that of most liquid. However, if its temperature falls below 4 degrees centigrade, its density starts decreasing. This means that the density of water is maximum at 4 degrees centigrade. If the temperature of water is lowered below 4 degrees centigrade, its density decreases and volume increases. It means that water expands when the temperature falls below 4 degrees centigrade. This is called the anomalous behavior of water. Why it is easier to swim in the sea than in a well or a lake? The water of sea is salty. When the salt dissolves in water, the density of water increases. Due to increased density, the substance floats in water. So it's easier to swim in the sea. Activity. Take a glass of water. Add a salt to it. When the salt dissolves in water, its particles spread in water. Slowly they become smaller and smaller. Ultimately, they cannot be seen. That is why they mix completely in the water. This is what is called as dissolving. Solute. The substance that dissolves salt. Solvent. The substance in which the solute dissolves, that is water. Solution. What we get when the solvent and solute together mixes is called solution. Uses of water according to its property. Water is useful for water transport due to its fluidity. Water falling down from a height is used to generate electricity with the help of a generator. Water is good coolant and is used in motor vehicle to control the temperature of the engine. Many substances are soluble in water. Water is universal solvent. Water is used as a solvent in factories, laboratories, foodstuffs, and in various types of biological processes occurring in the body such as digestion, excretion, etc. Water is useful for cleaning purposes such as for bathing, washing, and clothes. Properties of soil. Before learning more about soil, think about what is meant by soil. How it is formed. What are its ingredients? All these points we have learnt in the previous year. Now about properties of soil. Color is an important property of soil. The soil gets its color as a result of several processes. The color of soil near land surface is darker than the color of the lower layers. Soil may be different colors such as black, red, copper, yellow. The color of soil depends upon its texture and its organic ingredients, as well as chemical ingredients like iron, lime. The color of soil are useful for its classification. Besides, they are indirectly useful in indicating the properties of soil, such as its fertility, drainage of water, capacity to hold water, became clear from its color. Soil's texture. The texture of soil is determined by the proportion of particles of the various sizes in its. Types of soil. The types of soil on the basis of its texture are sandy soil. The proportion of sand that is large particle is high in the sandy soil. Water drains rapidly through the sandy soil. It is easy to plow this soil, but it is less fertile. The particles of sandy soil are made up of mineral called silicon dioxide, that is quartz. These particles do not dissolve in water and therefore the soil has very little capacity to supply nutrient. Silt soil. The particle of silt soil is not as fluffable as sandy soil. However, it is much more fluffable than clay soil. This soil contains a large proportion of organic material in it. Its capacity to supply nutrient is much greater and higher. The silt soil is also called as sedimentary soil. Clay soil. In this soil, the proportion of the small particle is maximum. The particles of clay soil feels smooth to touch. Clay soil has a higher water holding capacity. Soil structure. The structure of soil depends upon the different shapes of the particles in it. Soil occur in the form of columnar, laminar, granular as well as block-shaped structure. Importance of soil structure. The fertility of soil depends upon soil structure. The advantage of good soil are: roots get sufficient supply of oxygen. Water drainage is good, therefore the root of plant grows well. Uses of soil. Plant conservation. To help plant grow, water conservation. Soil holds water. As a result, by means of bunds and lakes, we can get water for use throughout the year. Plasticity. Soil can be given any required shape. This property of soil is called as plasticity. Because of its plasticity, we can make any different articles of different shape. These articles can be baked to make them hard. Water storage, earthen pots, earthen lamps, idols, bricks, etc. are articles made from soil. Some useful types of soil. China clay, that is kaolin. It is white in color. It is used to make crockery, bathroom tiles, tanks, laboratory apparatus, masks, jar, etc. Shadow soil. It is whitish in color. It is used for making statues or idols. Terracotta soil. This soil is red in color. Decorative articles and pots are used to make this soil. Plants are also used this soil to grow. Multani soil. This soil is used in cosmetics. China clay is an industrial mineral of the type of kaolinite. It is found in China and hence called China clay. Upon heating, the soil acquires a glaze and hardness. Soil testing. The proportion of the various ingredients of a soil can be determined by the soil testing. During soil testing, the soil is examined for its color, texture, and proportion of organic matter. If there is a deficiency of any ingredient, then the measures are suggested to remove it. pH of soil. The Danish scientist Sorenen put forth the concept of pH based on the concentration of the substances. Accordingly, soil is classified into three types. Acidic soil, that is pH less than 6.5. Neutral soil, pH ranges from 6.5 to 7.5. Alkaline soil, pH higher than the 7.5. Two tests, namely the pH and election, are particularly useful in finding out the characteristic of soil. Causes of diminished soil fertility. Soil pH less than 6 or higher than 8. Low proportion of organic matter. No proper drainage of water. Repeated cultivation of the same crops. Continuous use of saline water. Excessive use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Summary. Air has mass and weight. The molecules of the gases in the air are in constant motion. When they strike a body, create pressure on that body. It is called the atmospheric pressure. It is same in all directions. The air flows from the place of higher pressure to the place of lower pressure. Hand pins are an effect of the different in different pressure. When the temperature is low, the capacity of air to hold the water vapor is less. The excess vapor is transformed into droplets called dew. Air is a mixture of some gases, dust, smoke, and moisture, transmission of sound, and scattering of light. Water occurs in liquid state under ordinary condition. It is fluid in substance, good coolant, a universal solvent, and useful for many other purposes. Some substances float and some substances sink in the water. It is due to the property of density. Density is equal to mass per volume. The peculiarity of density of water is anomalous behavior. Water expands when the temperature falls below to the 4 degrees centigrade. This is called the anomalous behavior of water. The texture of soil is determined by the proportion of particles of various sizes in it. The types of soil on the basis of texture are sandy soil, silt soil, and clayey soil. Soil is useful for plant conservation, water conservation, and to make articles of variety. China clay, that is kaolin, shadow soil, terracotta soil, and multani soil are useful types of soils.